Panel, Henry Fernandez, Senior Fellow at the Center for American Progress Fund, and also Matt Schlapp, Chairman of the American Conservative Union and former White House Political Director for George W. Bush. Great to have both of you with us again.
Great to be here.
Henry, what do you make of this? I mean, McCain trying to throw cold water on those folks out there who were supporting Trump, who basically paralleled his campaign back in 2008.
Yes, but I think it's important that John McCain is coming out and actually saying the truth here, that this is extremism, and Donald Trump is taking advantage of the extremist elements in the party. I think there's a Fox News poll that just came out that showed Donald Trump in the lead, but it also showed something very interesting. A strong majority of the people who were polled across the country dismissed Donald Trump as a candidate. And I'd never seen this language in a poll before. They dismissed him because they considered him a loudmouth, according to the poll.
Well, if he's polling well, I think he'd probably take the number over the label of loudmouth. I mean, right. There's something amazing about the Trump. He just knows how to get news, but he's also, nobody's really given him any credit here, Matt Schlapp. He is connecting with the poll numbers as far as 70% of Republican voters agree with him on the wall with Mexico. What do you make of it?
Well, that's right. When all these people like Henry and all these elites say that he's a loudmouth and he's wacko, and McCain takes them on as a crazy, and I suppose I'm crazy too, you know, you're just making him bigger, because what he is running on is a Washington is broken, outside of Washington platform, and he doesn't care what any of these people think about him. He cares about what people in the country think, and he's connecting to them, and polls are math, and the math is simple. He's catching on. And so what I think we're seeing from these other Republican candidates, instead of trashing him, they're actually starting to mirror him and emulate him. You saw this with Ted Cruz. You've seen this with others. And if John McCain's going to run against Donald Trump, here's one thing I can promise you. Donald Trump's going to pick up another 10 points in these polls.
Well, Matt, what do you make of Senator John McCain? Is he trashing Donald Trump? Is he saying the wrong thing?
Yeah, he's saying the wrong thing. He's saying something that actually helps the other side. He's splintering our coalition. Our coalition goes from the center all the way to the right, just as the other parties mirrors it the same on the other side. And we've got to have everyone together if we're to win this presidential campaign. And I like the fact that we have presidential candidates who aren't speaking to strictly partisan Republicans. They're speaking to more independent-minded voters. That is a smart thing for us to do. If we can grab them as part of our coalition, we're going to win.
Henry, what do you think of that?
Well, look, Latino Decisions, which is the premier polling operation in terms of polling Latinos on political issues, just released research today that showed that for the Republican candidate to win the presidential election, they'll need to get 47% of the Latino vote. Mitt Romney lost. He got 23% of the Latino vote. Right now, Donald Trump is polling at 13% among Latinos. I don't think that Donald Trump is going to win, but he is branding the Republican Party right now. And so I think the Democrats are pretty happy with Donald Trump, because he's making sure that Latinos are not going to vote anywhere near 47% for the Republican candidate.
Well, George W. Bush got about that percentage in 2004. He did great in 2000. We've done this in the past, and we can do it again.
Yeah, but Ron Paul was very positive on he was very positive on immigration, and just the opposite of the messaging that's happening now.
Well, that is true. Bush did want to do something on immigration. He just never got around to it, I guess. All right, Ron Paul called out. What's that?
No, go ahead, Ed.
I want to play this sound cut of Senator Ron Paul. He called out Donald Trump. Listen to this, or former congressman.
But I think he's a dangerous person, and a lot of people find him sort of funny, and they love him, even, you know, libertarian type.
What? All right, so that is the former Congressman Ron Paul, who ran for president numerous times. Is he sending a warning or just campaigning for his son, Matt? What about it?
I think it's a dad who loves his son. I can't blame him for trying to do that, because you know, this Republican nominating process with all these candidates, it's wide open. And, you couldn't really predict who's going to get this nomination. We don't really have a front runner. So I just say this is fatherly love, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Henry, Reince Priebus, head of the Republican Party, has not publicly denounced Trump's comments. When is he going to be labeled as doing the party a disservice with his silence?
Well, not only that, but Trump kind of disrespected him in public. I thought that was interesting. And that may go to the fact that Donald Trump is someone who has, according to him, $10 billion, and he's going to spend some percentage of it, I suppose, to try to get himself elected. But I think that the RNC has a brand problem here, and Donald Trump is absolutely the person who is speaking for the Republican Party right now on immigration. And unless that changes, I just don't see how they're going to be viable in states like Virginia, Florida, Colorado, New Mexico, where Latinos and other immigrants, Asian immigrants as well, are essential to actually being able to win in those states. I think that's the reality. I think that's how this is going to play out.
So both of you, Matt, you first. I mean,
yeah.
Is John McCain doing the dog whistle here, saying, Houston, we got a problem with Donald Trump?
Yes, he is. And it's strange how the people like John McCain are worried about what's happening in the dynamics of this nominating process. And
I find that interesting, too.
I mean, what we're hearing left, and the fact is this. You can keep saying the same talking points about Hispanic voters. I agree. We have to reach out to these Hispanic voters. But the idea of taking on crime and the idea that we can reach out to these independent voters who are economically insecure about their own job prospects and the fact that their salaries and their real take-home pay has not increased, those are real issues. And by the way, my party, the Republican Party, reaches out to African Americans and Hispanics on cultural issues, which the Democrats have left them behind on years ago. So I take the challenge that we can once again get more than 45%. The numbers don't seem to show that you're doing a very good job of that. The numbers don't seem to show you doing a very good job of that. The president I served did a great job with it.
All right. Well, Henry, all right.
Yes.
Donald Trump, is he hurting John McCain in Arizona? That's the political accusation right now by McCain.
Is Donald Trump hurting John McCain, or is John McCain hurting Donald Trump? I think there's an absolute division in the party, and you're seeing that playing itself out at the Republican Party. I do think it's interesting that I get to comment on kind of the goals of the Republican Party. Matt might be better at that, but I do think that there's a real fight going on in the Republican Party. I actually think it's a healthy fight to have when moderate Republicans start to say, look, let's look at the demographic changes in this country. We've already seen that combination of younger voters, women voters, African-American voters, progressive voters, Latino voters, that elects presidents. And I think that that's what this struggle is going to be about inside the Republican Party.
Well, someone told me the other day that they thought Donald Trump was a modern-day Archie Bunker. I'm not quite ready to go that far, but close. Henry Fernandez and Matt Schlapp, thanks for the time tonight. Appreciate it. Still